I think all the people now that are willing to take flu shots, I mean, they're in the minority. We've got more people saying, no, I don't want this. There are other things I can do to keep myself healthy. I can do vitamin D, vitamin C, there's herbals, there's oregano oil, there's all sorts of things that are out there. Even simple things, getting plenty of sleep, drinking good water, getting plenty of organic food as much as you can. There's all sorts of
sunshine
things you can do. Sunshine, absolutely. Except if you are north of the 37th parallel in the wintertime, they've actually shown that even if you are outside in the sunshine in the wintertime, north of the 37th parallel, which is like if you take a line from San Francisco and sort of draw it straight across the country, the sun isn't strong enough to give you enough vitamin D that you need to keep yourself healthy in the winter.
We got a break. We'll come right back. Dr. Sherri Tenpenny, Foul, a bestseller. Doctor?
Well, thank you, Alex, for talking about that, because that book was written in 2006. And one of the main things, even though the title of the book talks about bird flu, it really is a playbook of exactly what's going on now. So if you want to know about the specifics about Tamiflu, how that vaccines are made, the cell line technologies, the eggs, all of those different things, it's all in that book. And all of the backdrop in terms of the politics, there's a whole chapter on mandatory vaccination. And so it's very timely information, even though it was published at the time that the bird flu was coming out. It's really, really timely. Then the other book is Saying No to Vaccines, and it's a resource guide for all ages. It's refuting the 25 most common reasons people think you should vaccinate. So you can just scan down the table of contents. You can look at a particular question, and you can go to that page and just read it. And then there's a footnoted reference right there that you can print out and hand to anybody that you want.
And there's nobody out there as focused and professional as Dr. Sherri Tenpenny when it comes to exposing these frauds, these scams, these New World Order operations. It's just wonderful. We were talking during the break with emails pouring in about people's husbands, their wives, dying, having heart attacks right after the shot. And Reuters a month ago, who, by the way, are involved in some of the companies, some of the owners of Reuters are involved in some of the vaccine makers, they put out a headline saying, millions will die of heart attacks and autoimmune disorders and being paralyzed. That happens normally. Just because you think the shot did it, we are mass diagnosing all of you. None of this happened from the vaccines, even though their own inserts admit it. I remember, and you wrote about this, but the mainstream media had to later admit it when Tommy Thompson, head of Health and Human Services, he wouldn't even take it. When all these people taking it were having heart attacks, and now we're seeing similar reports with this happening with the flu shot. Why is this happening?
Well, the live flu vaccines, particularly the swine flu vaccine, when we talked about doing that after 9/11, and they've done it to the military, they were going to do it to first responders, all the healthcare workers. Well, the the smallpox vaccine was injecting a live virus. That live virus was actually shown to cause hypercoagulability, which means it makes your blood clot. And people were dying from blood clots to the lungs, blood clots to the heart, and heart attacks. Well, this flu mist vaccine, and the one that goes up the nose, is a live flu. It's a live virus. It's a weakened virus, but it's a live virus. Injecting all of these flu shots into the body can do that. And I really think that there's a lot of information that's going to be coming out. It's the new ploy that the vaccine industry is doing. I mean, first they used to say you had to vaccinate so you wouldn't get sick. And then they said, well, you've got to get vaccinated so you can protect everybody around you. And then they said, no, you got to get vaccinated so that it will save money. So if you get vaccinated and you don't get sick, we won't have to put you in the hospital. And now they're saying, well, we know all these vaccine reactions are going to happen, so we're going to look at populations and find out what the baseline incidences of having things like Guillain-Barré and heart attacks. And so when we start having flu vaccines that happen and people are getting sick from them, well, we've already got the statistics to say that it can't be the flu shot, it has to be something else. So it's anything in the world to vaccinate everybody with everything. We've got every microbe out there. You know, I always tell people, it's like if you're living in your house and you have animals, I mean, how many bugs do you think are crawling around on your living room floor? If you have dogs or cats or horses or guinea pigs, or you go to the playground, or you're sitting in a like the conference that we had last night, the only bugs that we seem to have much concern about are the ones we have vaccines for. And if you don't have a vaccine for it, then I guess your body does a pretty good job not keeping you.
And they've got hundreds of vaccines in the pike. They've gone from a dozen to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60. They want to force us to take. Yeah. This is an amazing business plan. Big Pharma comes, lobbies government. They shove it on you, force it on kids, any captive population, force it on prisoners. I mean, this is a great business.
Yeah, and there was a report that just came out a couple of days ago that they said by 2014, that's just a couple years away, by 2014, there will be 75 more vaccines that will be all ready to go. 75. And they're for things like addiction and stop smoking and obesity and all these different...
Oh, by the way, I've had scientists on about that. Some of these anti-drug vaccines that you won't want cigarettes, you won't want cocaine, you won't want opiate-type drugs, the painkillers. They admit that it's a virus that goes in and actually attacks some of the receptors and gives you a type of lobotomy. And then they have others that attack the chemical reaction in the body, and it said creates plaques in the brains. I mean, my God, these new systems I don't even think should be called, and many scientists have said on the show, shouldn't be called vaccines. These are almost like nanobots. These are almost like nanotech, the Incredible Voyage, going in and actually rewiring the brain. And a lot of scientists have said if this keeps you from being able to absorb opiates or nicotine or other drugs, all of those opiates and all of those chemicals, they're mimicking different endorphins, different normal chemicals in the brain. Dr. Blaylock, top brain scientist, has talked about this here. And I mean, so now they're setting the precedent. I was watching G.I. Joe, the kids movie the other day on the treadmill, and it was all pro-war propaganda. But the evil Cobra Commander is injecting people with nanobots that make them their slaves. Well, that's basically what they're talking about now. I mean, my God, you're going to take something where you can't even absorb your regular endorphins, but don't worry, we'll have a drug that replaces that.
Yeah, it's like all the humans have become is a repository for the products of the pharmaceutical industry. Whether that product is a vaccine or a drug or some other type of chemical, we are a repository for that. And how much more can we actually keep putting in and putting in and putting in before we have it's one big bio experiment that breaks everybody's health down, and we just can't live. We just can't survive that.
Well, I mean, you've done all this research, and so have major universities, that we are seeing a massive increase in allergies because the vaccines cause an autoimmune response, and it causes all sorts of interactions because of the RNA, the fungus, things that get into the vaccine preparation. And so your body's just fighting, and starts having responses to everything.
Yeah, and they create things like some of the additives, like gelatin. They know for sure that gelatin that is in some of the flu shots and in the chickenpox vaccine causes allergies and allergic reactions. They know polysorbate 80 causes allergic reactions, and it also can cause anaphylaxis. It can cause infertility in female mice, and that additive is in the DPT vaccine, and it's in the new Gardasil vaccine. It's just one big scientific, it's like a big test tube experimental vaccination petri dish, and it's as though they can just put more and more and more in us, and that seems to be okay.
Well, what about hundreds of peer-reviewed major studies showing that all the different rodents they give vaccines to, different types, develop early onset of unnatural arthritis? I mean, the reports about people having heart attacks, how does that happen? I mean, speak about the arthritis and then the cardiovascular problems.
Well, it's really about, there's a bunch of different things. I like to use the analogy, Alex. It's sort of like if you take a little mini bomb, a little cherry bomb out in your backyard, and you put it underneath a pile of leaves, and you set it off, and then the leaves go boof and fly up all over the place. That's kind of what happens when you put a vaccine into your immune system and into all of these cytokine pathways and how they all talk to each other. Just like it blows them up and just causes everything to go into a disarray. We can't keep doing this with impunity. We just can't.
Because our body's meant to have small amounts of things they beat, not injected directly into it, a whole witch's brew of venom.
The new mantra and the new argument in the vaccine world particularly about mercury is when they say that, you can get more mercury out of eating a can of tuna fish than you can from getting an injection in the vaccine. That's their new little soundbite to try to dismiss all of it.
And we got the CFR clip where they said, we're going to use this, and we're going to say there's a shortage.
Exactly.
And they laugh about it, manipulating us.
Yeah, they do. And it's the differences between ingesting and injecting. You can ingest a little bit of mercury in a tuna fish, and more than likely it's going to go out in your stool. You inject that into your body. It will eventually get absorbed and go into your brain. You can ingest fish oils, and you can ingest oils like shark oil, but you inject shark oil, which is what the squalene adjuvant is, and it's a completely different ballgame.
And I've read the medical literature, but they describe how mercury bound to food, 99% of it goes out, but injected, it goes right over the blood-brain barrier.
Exactly.
And children, am I correct, doctor, for the first few years don't have that blood-brain barrier properly?
Well, they do have a blood-brain barrier, but I think it's a little bit leakier. I mean, they don't have it quite as, it's leakier. So the possibility of things going across the blood-brain barrier are higher. And with the FluMist vaccine, the one that goes up the nose, that has MSG in it. So MSG, which is an excitotoxin in the brain, which can go right up the olfactory nose and right into the brain tissue. What I'm wanting to know is who's going to follow the brain reactions that could possibly happen down the road from injecting a big wad of viruses and MSG right up the nose.
But the medical system has an incentive to cover all this up. I mean, even the doctors who are giving the shots, they want to be in denial. They don't want to admit what they're part of.
No, and they've got liability protection, too. I mean, it's anybody that's involved downline from that. They all have liability protection for anything that may be going on with the vaccines.